Kaya yaksatini takat yuhan. Wasa iyatee yayaki.
Just one quick question before I answer. When you add the I at the end of a verb, it means that that verb is because of another verb, or does that mean the second verb in the sentence is because of the first verb?
That or when the other verb.
Okay. So, gat udihwesh kashuk kahini achriu.
Oh, okay.
Is that like grammatically correct to use the I there in that context?
Well, you'd have that one. It would be like you'd want some sort of state verb first, like
okay. So
I'm sad that I'm tired, or just whatever the thing is, or maybe be happy that you're tired. But if you want to say something made me tired, then you'd usually say but we don't say around. Okay, what's our iyatee yuhan? The cut yuhan.
Iyatee ka kudas kasne.
Oh, iyatee. Jacuzzi. Oh, gusuwe jacuzzi.
Iyatee. Origansi adolki.
It's on already. Just have to click video and change which camera it comes out with.
Oh, iyatee. Sheesh. Oh, Guayakwan.
Kunnach achtusagu yach iti.
Ikecha.
Kana aputu atrawe. Yagi sita aktu kor klech aktener klech akla yanig klech.
Oh, sure.
Clear wasa.
I have to go beginning.
Ақтауусигу.
Ikecha. Well, sheesh, takat yuhan. Chatzucht hu yake yayaki. Úkszl awechosatin. Tatge nask úkszl awechosatin. Hast du daat awe úkszl datan. Jagut ʼu'utin. Ye awe chwaach. Gwell nask awe úkszl ʼu'ustin. Dech ʼaqonei Wooch has ḵulagaawu. Aqa dech adach has ʼatudli.átk. Táax'aa uyech yayidat. Techasagu wanach sawi. Adati tuchtet han qoa. Take the hin qoach. Yes. Dzísk'w has du shatqa. Wooch has ḳulagaawu. Ye awe qoach. Aqa awe Wooch has ḳul. Yes. Wait, dzísk'w has du shatqa. Wooch in has ḳulagaawu. Has ḳulagaawu. Ye awe. Galchishach sa achi. Yayaki takat yuhan yakhana. Táax'aa zu adati jiwtuwanei. Shan dang edach. Tlachlikudzi awe du. Yuchatangi ate awashkawushnigan. Yeah. Kunachoyake. When it's cheese, Johan, ya gout cow the hit wuchinye jiwtuwanei. Cheese. Recap. What was I talking about?
You're talking about.
I really heard something about moose doing something together,
Yeah.
possibly fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once upon a time, the moose and the something else, you know.
Kijk de heen ʼulagaawu. One time I heard.
Okay.
Iyatee. This. Yes. With dzísk'w. ʼatudli.átk. Wooch in ḵulagaawu.
Fighting each other?
Yeah, they fight each other. When and why? It was all there. Yes.
Like yesterday?
Yes.
When they're young?
Not yes.
No.
Yes. ʼatudli.átk yes. ʼatudli.átk yes. So we talk
Winter or year?
ʼatudli.
Spring?
Like spring, like
Tan.
Bhutan, warm spring. Summer.
When it's
Yes. ʼatudli.átk yes. ʼatudli.átk yes.
Oh, fall.
Yeah, what? Yes.
Yes. During the fall.
in the falls.
Oh, yeah, when the moose fight, they do.
ʼatudli.átk.
Shatka. Something to do with their heads. Maybe that's the word for butting heads or something. Shut.
Jiwtuwanei. Awashai.
Right.
Yeah. They fight for their
Shut
wife.
wife.
They always fight in this fall for their. But that's how it was explained. Like it's not really like they just want to make a baby, but whatever. Yeah, okay.
Mate.
Táax'aa.
I was saying mate instead of wife, it'd be a mate.
Yes. Yeah, what? Okay, what else was I talking about?
Would that be Chana for me, or I don't know?
It could be Chana. It could be. It's probably both those concepts are really humanizing the animal. But that's how I heard an elder. Like she said it that way, and so I think that's just how maybe the Tlingit perspective looks at it. There is a verb. Okay, what's the word for May and June? Something Dísi.
Is it like setting up the next month or something like that? I don't know.
So when there's a verb that in Tlingit there are some verbs that separate for they classify for different types of things, right? So for example, you can have there's a bunch of verbs that you have one for inanimate things and you have one for animate, so non-living and living things. This is one where you do have this is a verb that is used just to talk about animals. So you do not use this verb with people. ʼatudli. So this would be, and then jiwtuwanei. So you could say on ʼatudli.átk, maybe the one they're going to produce young with. They're going to make a baby. Because that's, for in the animal world, that's what it's all like. There are some animals that certainly raise their young in a collaborative way, like an eagle. I think a killer whale. But there's others where has to ish just get Papa's a rolling stone, just rolls on out of there. So. Okay, and there was one other thing I talked about seeing. Everybody catch that?
The geese.
Not geese, but that's very close.
Oh, swan.
Yes.
No.
Because I saw, near my house, I saw 3 of them yesterday. But then today there's 1. Then I heard that 2 of them were fighting. And then 2 of them left, and 1 got left behind. And so, I didn't talk to them, so I don't know why. But maybe they were having some kind of battle. I don't know. Territory. Anyways. Any language thoughts or questions?
I couldn't figure out Héen, and I wondered if it uses the suffix that you find in words like Kayaaní, like like
In the story?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to the story.
Oh yeah, that's
outside
right.
of the story.
That is
Let's
correct.
start there, and then we'll get into Táax'aa.
Yeah, with
It is also in the story.
Okay. In that case, maybe we're ready for the story. I think the first complete draft of the conjugator is done. So it's pretty exciting. It's exciting for me.
I'm excited.
So this has all of the major modes. So there's some modes that aren't in here. There's still more than this, but I think if you're using those, you're getting very, very fancy. And so some of these are fancy enough, I think. So if you're dying for the more than you wanted to know sort of conversation, we could have that some other time. But this does have all of them, including thematics. Just know the negative habituals, my confidence level is about 40%. So it hovers at about 70% with the rest of these. So in the future, there will be exercises in advanced Tlingit, just to warn anyone who might be in there. I developed this thing. This took me a significant amount of energy today. What it should do is if I go in here and delete this and hit enter, it gives me a new theme, a new mode, and a new subject. And then I will challenge people to do it. And so this would be don't be stubborn, which I would say or I'd probably say no, Wooch. It's what I think it would be. But the prohibitive is really it's an unfair battle to do the prohibitive. Huh?
I'll ask questions during every episode.
So I would predict Wooch.
Okay, so there is an I before the underlying K at that. Is that only, I'll ask my questions in advance. I'm sorry.
Needs a peg vowel,
Okay.
because you couldn't go
So we
can't go Wooch. You can. You can go ch and you go k. But you can't go ch. You can't.
I buy that.
Okay. So anyways, but that's not for you. Yes.
I went on the website after the last classes and it looked like you were trying to post a version of the conjugator, but it didn't upload. And then the class before that, there was a draft version that you had attached. And when I clicked on that, it said that it had been deleted. So how do we access this wonderful new toy that you created for us?
Okay. Do you know where Mordor is? I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I don't have a ring, so am I safe?
You're gonna take the conjugator and throw it into the big volcano. Okay, no, I will drop it into the chat, and then we're having a conversation about Broken Links is gonna be the name of my band when I retire. We're Broken Links.
I think you should do a full fest.
Awesome. We'll just have broken strings on it.
And
Okay.
the puppets. Turkish contract on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. It is in the chat as it's going into the chat, so it should be downloadable from the chat. And this link should work. I don't know. My Google Drive is finicky because I try to update the same document over and over, and that seems to not be the way, but I don't know. Anyways, it's there. One last thing before we switch to Táax'aa is we got to get real negative here for a moment. So we are going to do an exercise, I think, after Táax'aa before we wrap up for the semester, where we just go through and start changing the subject and object in a bunch of different verbs. And the love verb is going to be the one that we do it in, probably to start with, because it's a very stable verb. Sikhan is how it ends every time. The si won't change and the khan won't change. So it's a really great one to start with. But I'm sure I've told you folks, I was working with Kayaaní on this, and I would say it in English, and he would just, and we did all the possible, well, most of them, the main object and subject combinations. We did all of the subjects, but not all of the objects, because we don't need ush in there. I don't think, we didn't do like woosh or chush. We maybe did woosh, but not chush, because it might be violating some cultural protocols to say chush chadzechan. It's a bad thing to say, but grammatically you can say it. But it sounds like you're just really in love with yourself. And then we switched to negatives, and so we did all the negatives, and it was so fun. Because I think we did all these like love you, love them, they love them, everybody loves everybody. And then and he was 91 or 92 years old, so I would have to yell pretty loud. He had a hearing aid, but he couldn't hear very well. So I said, I don't love you. His wife was in the next room, and she would usually just watch TV real quiet. And she goes, Ishan! And so and we did all this, like, I don't love you. I don't love y'all. I don't love them. I don't love them all. I don't love people. I don't love anything. Or I don't love something. And he says, oh, well, you missed one. I was like, oh, what? And he says, so I don't love anything. And so that was really fun. And I was like, okay, now I got to get this little Oscar the Grouch thing. But if you know anyone who speaks a Dene language, we have a question about the negative antonym. And this is what it is. So Tlingit has this thing, there's only a small handful of verbs that do this, where you can go, it is, or basically is, isn't, is the opposite of it. And it's an interesting thing because most of them change classifier groups. So what you see here with going from positive to negative is the classifier going plus I to minus I, just like we would expect it. Iyatee, ʼk'ulagaawu, ʼatudli.átk, ḵulagaawu, ʼatudli.átk, yanik, ʼatudli.átk, ʼasag'w, ʼatudli.átk, ʼatsin, ʼatudli.átk. So that's saying is and isn't. But then for these verbs, there's an opposite, which usually switches from whatever classifier it is, it jumps to an SH classifier. And it's technically a whole new verb. So there was a question about, do other Dene languages do this? So if you listen to this, Dene'ina, we're talking to you. Atna, talking to you. Han, Tashoni, Denke, Dene, tell us about it. And so here's what the opposite one would be. Ḳulagaawu, 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 ḳulagaawu. So the bottom one does not do that classifier switch, but does a very unusual thing where the front of the stem actually changes. So there's your negative antonyms brought to you by Oscar Kukahinta Unuku. Okay. Let's go back to Táax'aa. So we had left off here. We're going through again and doing a literal translation. So it's trying to be much more accurate to the tlingit that is there, which is not saying anything negative about this translation right here. But this translation is for speakers of English. This translation is in the middle, is us just sort of living in this middle ground between these two languages and trying to make sure we understand everything that's over here. So this line does go across 2 pages. Any general questions so far before this point? Because if not, ask them when we get to the sentence. Can I get a reader for this sentence? Yeah, start on the top, sorry. Right.
Oh. Yeah. Kadach.
Okay. And what is iyatee?
Is from the water.
Here from the ocean.
Yes.
From on the salt water.
I was looking at this one. I had a hard time figuring out where the ka came in.
Yeah, so when we talk about bodies of water, when we're saying it's on the surface of the water, we'll usually say ḥuka. That means on the surface of the water. And the water has, it has an opening, which gets really wild. But when we talk about the ocean, we can also say ʼatk. So there's really, these are 2 really different, but very similar things in tlingit. You have daat and ʼatk. So these are the 2 sort of main cultural categories of tlingit. And what are they?
On the
Inland coast.
Yes, so we have our inlanders, we have our coasties. And so we'd say ʼatk tlingit if we're trying to differentiate that we are coastal tlingit, daat tlingit. And I do say always be careful with this because I think it's exaggerated nowadays. It's a bigger separation than it used to be because of the border, because of different writing systems. But a long time ago, it is a different lifestyle as well. So being on the ocean means we brought speakers down here. Seydaya, asad duasak, kleidchakrinach. She's one of my favorite teachers and speakers. Well, we brought her down from Atlin, and we're asking her we're walking on the beach. We're like, what's this? What's that? What's this? We were all beginning. This was in 2003? Yeah, 2003. And she's like, her mom was Elizabeth Nyman. Okay, so ʼatk would be from the ocean. But you get the ka on there, which would be from on the ocean, which is just sort of saying from the coast, really. What about ḥulagaawu?
This one got me. Okay, means our mouth.
Our mouth. And then what did you say for the?
Like something swimming.
Yes, so underwater swimming.
When I looked in the conjugator, I didn't find anything that really even came close to matching it, except that I felt like the CH indicated it was the subject, maybe?
If we listened really close, it might be ķeuk'ch. And so we do have, like, recognizing this is a big step. Like, this is swimming underwater. When you have K in front of it, it's an upward sort of a thing that might be like this. And so swim up.
So they swim up to our mouths.
Yes. So they swim, and what we have is always swim up. So in this case, you have they always swim up to our mouths. Which, if we go over here, they would come up for us to eat. And so here we see, like, they're doing the extra work for us in terms of how does this work? And our focus now is like, what do these individual words mean? But then when we put them together, it is this, because it would say they're swimming up to our mouths. They always swim up to our mouths. Well, what this whole sentence is saying is we're in the interior, the salmon swim up from the ocean for us to eat. Through 9. Who wants to read it?
Yachat.
What's that?
Yachat.
The salmon, the fish, the trout. In this story, he is talking specifically about salmon, so probably leave it there.
Aya, llach, daat, yach, saya, ha, iyatee, yachat.
Sheesh. Okay. Lots of stuff in here.
Would it be like this very story? Like,
I'll accept this very.
oh wait, no, that's not a story.
About, like, this, our mouth is good.
About, okay. Well, okay, so this is not about, but it looks identical.
Like what? Like what is good for
Yeah.
now?
Like similar. I found similar.
Yes.
What?
I found
When you
what?
have-
They're very like what is good for our mouths.
Yes. So, daat, iyatee. How this stuff works is, this is fun stuff. So when you have dasa, like we all know dasa, like we learned this in beginning Tlingit, and if you put anything in between dasa, it's going to close itself off with a T. So if you have daat yachsa on its own, that would often be a question. And what would that question be saying?
Is it like?
Yeah.
What's it like?
What's it like? Or like what, right? Either one. You know, and so often there might be a verb there. So what is it like? And then we jump to the verb and we got good. So then this is also sometimes a statement. So you could say, for example, sometimes Tlingit uses these things that are kind of like riddles, I guess, but some of the riddles don't always have answers. One example, I'll just put it here for now. Daat sa ʼatudli.átk. I don't think that's a question. And what is that saying? Daat sa ʼatudli.átk.
Is that how powerful our language is?
Well, yeah, it's in that realm. Maybe not powerful.
Stronger than our language?
Maybe not strong. Once we put the ch on it, it's a different type of thing.
I think that's so isn't it what's more important?
Yes, right? So more important, it's in that realm. So ʼatudli.átk means it's cherished. It's valuable.
What's more valuable than it?
What is more valuable than our language? And there's no answer to this. Like when the speaker said this, they were in. It was an interesting speaker to work with, because the kind way to say it is we would sit around, would have like 2 hours to work. It would sit around and just talk about everything under the sun in English for 90 minutes. And I'd say, okay, we got to do Tlingit. And then they would switch and just do like this amazing language stuff. Like, what? And they would just be on fire for like 50, in reality, it'd be for like the last 15 minutes when we were working. It would just drive my stress levels up sometimes because we'd have specific tasks we were trying to accomplish. But this is from that speaker. And so in this case, so in this case, I would say it's as good as anything. It tastes as good as anything to us, right? And so these are really interesting sort of things. If you said klesh, daat, you'd be really saying nothing tastes as good as this. So what you're really saying here, the very, very like say our mouths good. This is as delicious as anything to us. Like so yes, this very like it our mouth good the salmon. So and there's different ways, as we learn more about Tlingit, and the reason why we dive into these big stories is there's a reason why they recorded all of these. ʼUʻk'ne Nora Marks Dowenhauer recorded this in the 1970s, I think. And it's fabulous. And it also shows us like a lot of the depth of Tlingit. But then it also shows us like how to be Tlingit interpreters. Because if I just took a story and I said, write down the Tlingit and translate it into English, I would say there's maybe 4 or 5 people in the world who could do that right now. Maybe less, but maybe that's a pretty good number. So we need more people who could do that. But then you're going to be in this middle ground where you're going to have to make a decision about how are you going to do the English. And that's why I think these exercises are fun, because they show us how much is there.
Would an acceptable translation of that be what can taste better than the salmon?
Yeah. And you could also say nothing tastes better to us than the salmon, right? Like you could make that leap from this, because it's in Tlingit, I think it's saying those types of things.
So I've seen wasa be used rhetorically, and it's usually translated as like, oh, how, as like a way to exaggerate like statements. Like I've seen elders say like, wasa ʼatudli.átk and stuff like that.
Right.
Is that more specific than oh how this, or is that a good translation?
Well, so it's once the language starts to get fancy, it's telling us there's something really important here. And so I think what he's doing here is saying like, this is something that the people survived off of and loved to eat. And so it communicates all of that for us. Because you could say, yeah, let's take iyatee for an example. You could say iyatee, ʼqunach iyatee, kach ʼqunach iyatee, wasa iyatee, kach wasa iyatee, kach Kayaaní iyatee, kach Táax'aa iyatee. And so that's kind of climbing up into, and then it's going to get into longer things where it's going to get, you're going to have to piece it out and see what's going on. Okay, we're going to fix this high tone on here. Can I get a reader for the next line?
Kunach yat kuste yudakha.
Sheesh. And how are we going to translate ḥunach?
Very.
Yes, I might lean more towards really. For tach, I'd say very. For ḥunach, I'd say really. Just because it can also function as an adjective. And you could say ḥunach. Trying to think of something that could be real. If you said
What's to do with South Scotsman?
Scotsman? Well, you said ḥunach Scotsman chasati. Like that is a real Scotsman, right? Or something that is, if we have things that are, you can say ḥunach tlingit chasati. They are a true tlingit. They really are tlingit, which means they're speaking the language, they're living the life. It's not really talking about, when it's used in that way, it's not talking about an ethnicity. So really, and what is iyatee?
It was
It
difficult.
was hard.
Colt.
Kusti yudakha.
I found it.
To live in the interior.
A way of life in the interior.
Well, in this, maybe we have the noun version of the verb here.
Life in the
interior.
in the inland. Inland or interior.
Yes, so kusti is life. So just the other day, or just today, I wrote to someone, teach kusti. Life is chaotic. Who wants to read this?
I will. Watiki sayu wuchisha and kini.
Sheesh. So what do we got for wati sayu?
How hard it was there.
And that could be way over there, or it could be way back then.
They just ate each other?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, technically, people are eating each other.
Oh, okay. So there is not just, it's like something else.
It is. So people are just eating each other.
Is there, I think you talked about it before, but is there a reason aside from just preference why it's dzísk'w and not ʼicha?
Yeah. So
because it's the little bites versus whole, right?
yeah. So you've got little bites, or you got like in separate different, like maybe in multiple sort of meals or something like that. And so what's interesting here is you could say Wooch ascha, but you would need some sort of plural, right? And so you would usually have has Wooch ascha, right? And so that would be this specific group of people are eating each other. But what happens here is the Wooch, the plural kind of goes away, which is really interesting. But what happens here is this is going to enact one of the Tlingit rules. And here is the rule. A prefix cannot have only a consonant. If there is a consonant, there must be a vowel. And so if you had this, which grammatically you kind of could, but now the letter I has to pop up there. And it's not saying you are doing it. You are because that just logically wouldn't make sense. Because the Wooch, there would have to, you could say Wooch yischa, which would be y'all are eating each other, which is a strange sentence. But you couldn't say wooch iskha because there's just one of you. So what would the wooch part be? So in this case, we know that this is just a peg vowel. It's just to say you cannot have, and so you will have that in certain cases. So there's one here, I think it's under color.
So are peg vowels always I, or could you throw an A or an E in there?
In this spot, they are always I.
The default pig file for Lingi is I, right?
Yeah, I think the default pig. So yeah, let's just say it's always I until I find another example. So here's for a fish to change color, specifically a sockeye or a coho usually. So ʼatudli is the name of that fish. So ʼatudli is a sockeye or a coho that have changed color once they hit the fresh water. So if you look at the first sample sentence, ʼat with ʼakw, we don't need this downward tone on there. This double O would be a single U. And so those are the only adjustments we'd make to that sentence these days. Then if we look here, úkszʼ is ʼakw. There's that peg vowel right there. It's just because you can't say ʼakw. Tlingit will not allow you to do that. And so it says, just put a vowel there.
So with that rule, you mean that somewhere in the prefix there has to be a vowel, not that each prefix has to have its own vowel, right?
It doesn't always have to have a vowel. But if it has a consonant, it needs to have a vowel.
Well, right.
So
I'm trying
because
to
of
reconcile that with dropping vowels in various prefixes because there's too many syllables in there.
yeah, Tlingit is complex like that. So Tlingit as a language says, I don't care about no vowels. Drop them. Like, all right, drop them all. It's like, no, we actually need a vowel. So that's how Tlingit is. And so
we don't care about vowels until we decide we do care about vowels.
yeah, so if a prefix does not need anything. And we know that because this is a verb. What is this verb? How do we translate this verb?
Sleep.
What's the full translation though? This is a verb.
Go to sleep.
They're sleeping.
It would be nata.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sleep.
Oh,
They're sleeping.
they're sleeping.
They're sleeping.
There's with
This is wild to me, right? This just like the shortest verb, like in all of Tlingit. Yeah, this little tiny little verb. Because there's some of these other verbs like, we're like 16 syllables long, bro. What are you doing?
Is you a preverb?
You?
Yeah.
Like the letter U?
No, Y-O-O.
Yes, it is a preverb. I was hearing English for some reason. Is you a preverb? No, I'm a human being. Okay. Okay. So a prefix does not need anything. However, if a prefix has a consonant, it must have a vowel. So because of that, we get peg vowels, and so there's a command form. And what's the command form for eat it? Cha. Eat it. What is the command form for sit down?
Naham.
Right? No.
Nope, because
No.
is they are
That's
seated
a
there.
positional.
Yeah.
That's
It's got to switch to a different, like the
It has
act
to be
of
a
sitting
motion.
down.
It has to be a motion, not a position.
I say it to my dogs all the time.
Is it Hyundai?
Starts with a qa, and it ends with n. Sit down. So these ones, natu, here's another command. Anybody know what that one would be?
Read.
Oh, just
Read it
Read.
or count it.
That too
Okay.
would be right.
But if I wanted to just tell someone to read, like just read some or count, I don't know, it would be a weird command. But I think we put this on the library or something on a brick. Oh, there it is right there. So we get, all roads point to this. Ni, da, tu. So, if you have all plus D classifiers must have a pronoun in the command form. That's why you say qanu, but you say giddahan, giddahan. So that pronoun is not needed for the command form. It just completely drops the pronoun, right? Because we see cha, but you'd say Wooch is cha. Y'all eat each other. Like you could say that. Again, we're not recommending that. It's purely a grammatical lesson. Or I could say Wooch is chan. That's better. Love each other. Oh wait, Wooch is chan. Sorry. Okay.
I command you to do it.
Yes. Command you to love each other.
That sounds like a parenting phrase.
Wooch in. Okay, I don't like to say to be kind as a command.
be kind.
Because you can, right? So there's a couple ways we can approach this. Let's see.
Hortative.
Oh, what's that?
Should we use hortative?
You can use a hortative. Yeah, so let's go look up kind.
Yeah.
Let's just go take a look. So here's kind.
'Cause you
Kind and gentle. So this follows all the conventions we expect it to. But if you have a child that speaks Tlingit, you're just opening yourself up for being laughed at when you're trying to be serious. So I said to my kid, it took Sha'an. And she said, what about my butt? And she, I don't think she was being funny, but it's like, that is, so you have to have contraction here, because you have right here in it took Sha'an, you have it to ga Sha'an. That's 4 things. One of those things has to go. So if you pull this vowel, this g will always change into a K. It always does that. That's why all those features have that K sound in it. Kukwagut, kukigut. It's that g being contracted. Pull that vowel, turns into a K. Very predictable. But when it does it here, you have tuk, which is too close to tuk. So you could say ha tukuchtla'an, let us be kind. But I switch to a future and I say ke itukuchtla'an. You are going to be kind. Back to Táax'aa.
The confident prediction.
Right? Antqini. What's antqini?
Like I saw townspeople or crowd.
In that land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people of the village, right? The village people.
Ew.
I came up with
How you-
key was situated in the land.
It means they sit on the town. Antqini. So qin is a verb root. There's a couple different verb roots. One of them is to the plural of sitting. So like you say, coming back to our little thing in notes. So qanu is sit down, but what is y'all sit down?
Ikin?
Qayqi.
Guy.
I feel like I should go check on them.
Oh, yeah, because it's short and high toned all the time when it's a command, yeah.
Yes, those commands like to be short and high.
So
Okay.
for those 3 lines, I translated how hard it was. People ate each other in that land.
Yeah, the people of the village were, and when we say cha'a was ischa, this is calling attention to this verb. So it's really saying like they were eating each other. They started to eat each other. They are eating each other, right? So it does this thing where it's switching into technically like an imperfective. Okay, next line.
Kusacha kwan uziti wegao.
Cannibal thing that exists this time. For that time.
Yeah, wake out. It's like at that time. Really. Okay. Let's get to the bottom of the page and we'll take our break.
Awe adayu khatangi nuch. Ya HKD ya łuksz'ł.
Jeez.
Nooch or nooch?
Nooch. But nooch, nooch, niche, niche. Those are your 4 variations for that. You're going to hear all 4. Depends on the speaker. Niche and niche tends to be more tessin and cake. Nooch and niche tends to be kind of everywhere else. Away. I guess I would. There's different ways that you could translate. This is one where like I feel like I had a pretty good translation for it, and I can never remember what it is. You could say like so it is, or it helps to just carry the narrative along, right? What about
They would talk about it all the time.
Maybe not they.
We would talk about it all the time, because too.
We talk about it all the time.
What is it?
What's that?
What is ʼatudli.átk?
So it's to converse.
Oh.
So it's the plural form of ʼatudli.átk. ʼatudli.átk. They are speaking. ʼatudli.átk. They are conversing. Talk about it all the time. Or I guess we could say we converse about it all the time. Yeah, ʼatudli ʼátk.
Went to the ocean, we moved our households.
What is good?
Moved.
Yeah, what? Okay. Yeah, so in that verb, łuksz'ł, it's like we are moving there permanently. And the verb is like there's a house post built into it. Gas is the word for a house post. So it's like we're going to go and build a house there. Then we have again a dayu ʼatudli.átk. Oops, who wants to read that? Ah. Jeez. And he goes nooch to nooch. It's for variation, maybe.
What does ch mean?
So ch on its own is like even or still. So in this case, often when you have ch, you're going to have like yidet or something like that. But I would say we still converse about it.
Is the aya at the end, like now?
A bit, yeah. Yeah, like we're still conversing now. Ooh, okay, we'll take our break and we'll come back to here. We'll come back to ʼkunakain. It's a funky one.
Is there like a, I guess this is a break now, but is there like a grammatical difference between like ch and chayesu?
Yeah, so ch and cha, they are true particles, which means what they do depends on what they're around. And so with ch, once you put, if it attack, like you say chudech, now like don't even worry about what ch means. Chudech means both of them, right? Chayesu, or it's usually chayesu. So it's also like you got to remember which one goes with which, because it's chaklech is forever, and then chayesu, just now. Okay, come back at 1:45 with Chish. We're back from our short break. Okay. We are on the bottom of page 3. This is a line that stretches across these 2 pages. Starting on line 55, going to 58. Can somebody read that for us?
Ja, kleeg je die je family ja has to gaan adi ja kunak in.
Okay. So yeah. This or here. Kleeg je die
I got like this one was that.
Yeah, one of them. So tlaikriti nask iti chus cake. What was that?
Three-legged dog.
That is correct. Put it on the notes.
I was like, that needs to be in the notes.
It actually took me a long time to get someone to tell me how to say that. Okay. So we have an English word in here. He's a big fan of English. He likes to use it in his stories. He does it all the time. This family has to an ati.
That is arriving at the mouth.
Yeah, so this, I don't know if this is actually translated anywhere. It's really interesting.
I couldn't find it, so I did find kahan, and then because of classes, I know how adi has been used. This is the closest thing that I know of. So this is a type of ʼkulagaawu that doesn't really exist anymore. Without looking it up, what might this ʼkulagaawu be for? I better transfer
Feeding
this.
those who passed away.
Nope.
Is it like just like a kind of like distributive thing, just like give away food, just for like food's sake? Yeah.
Well, there would. It's not okay. You can have ʼsak'w ʼkulagaawu. That's just for fun.
I'm seeing chant, which is to end.
So is it like the end of the year feast?
End of eating things. I wonder if it's like famine.
Oh.
Not quite, but not far.
Is it like a fasting kuich?
Yes, but it's at the end of it.
So it's like
The
the
feast
Easter
at the
feast
end of
at
it.
the end of it.
Yes, but who would be fasting and why? Some of the reasons Tlingit people used to fast was an artist getting ready to do some design work that was very sacred. They would fast for 4 days and the design would come to them. But this is not for that.
Is it for like hunting? I know that's a thing.
You would, before hunting, you would often fast for 1 or 2 days. Often, this is not for that. A medicine person would fast when they were trying to level up. If they were going to level up, like an animal would come out, look at them, and just fall over dead in front of them. They go cut their tongue out. But this is not for that. Shukwa desnigu.
Just following.
They was getting married?
There would be shawat khani ku'i.
I love how the verb for
Oh,
divorcing would be.
is it like before? Is it like before like harvest time? Okay.
Right after the shukwa disnigu. Do we know what disnigu might be?
This is month.
Sick moon.
Is that menstruation?
Yes.
After
So,
a young woman's seclusion?
yes. So when a long time ago, well, not that long, but this is how it used to go. When a girl became a woman, they would have a ceremony. And that ceremony would involve seclusion. So they'd build a brush house and she would be taken care of, but she would fast. And so she would fast usually for 4 days and 4 nights, those were usually the magic numbers. Then afterwards, they would have a ku'i with all of her favorite foods. And then they would just talk, during that whole time, she would be visited with exclusively by women of her clan to talk about what it means to be a woman. And then they would have a ku'i to, so that's what it was for. But that's the only place I've heard something like this. So, ʼatudli, the хан part is next to. So, thing next to their mouth. So it is talking about their food, but it's a very interesting way to say it. And this might be the only place. But there was another story that we looked at. Was that here or another class? I don't think that was in this class.
Yeah, I think that was advanced. You did Kayaaní.
Yeah, okay. So we had ʼatudli. Oh. Okay, so their food, right? There's different ways you could talk about food. Úḳlʼ, something they might eat. In this case, ʼatudli, the things next to their mouth, which is really interesting. ʼyakunak'ain, I don't really know how this is working.
Becoming small.
Mm.
I was thinking becoming small in amount.
That works.
It is a verb, right? But I figured it was changing to be decessive and the vowel was changing, but I couldn't find it.
Because
I found it in a story.
From this, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So kuk'a is, well, this is usually kuk'a, I think. That's amazing. Yeah, okay, so let's look at the verb dictionary. Let's look at this verb root. Because Tlingit is always ready, like, if the game is like categories, the Tlingit language does get very excited. It's like, oh, that's my favorite game. So here is our verb, which is to be too small, right? And so kuska is a tekwedi name. It means a person who's too small. And so you could say like insufficient possessions, like not enough. And so what you have here is if you're going to do, well, we can come back to, all roads lead back to the conjugator. Wait a minute. I gotta add, is progressive on here?
Yeah, 109.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's on the right.
Okay. So what this shows you, okay, so we gotta come back to this card. So this card smashes a lot of things onto it. So what it tells you is to use a progressive verb, is what we have here, is you're gonna have na. You have to have na activated. You're gonna have ya in front of it if it's a na or zero conjugation. If it's ga conjugation, it has to be k. K nakain. If it's qa, it has to have ye. Ye and the gun.
So at the top there, shouldn't not or nothing be ya instead of null? No, right above the preverb.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thanks, Cheese, for catching that. I will fix that.
None of us catch this in advance.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to, well, it's 576 pages now, so there'll be plenty of time to catch up all the things. And I want to make a little mark on here.
Can you change the color maybe? And that works.
You could also right click and say insert comment. How do you not have comment?
Whatevs. Okay. Good cheese for catching that. And so, okay, so then it's going to show you here, if it's closed, it's going to be short and high. If it's open, it will be long and high, but it has to get the N on there. So that means every open root must close in the progressive. So that's why you say Kayaaní, and you get that N sound at the end. So what happens here is if we say, going back to the verb dictionary, let's go look up small, just so we can see some examples. So we've got just a little, the handle is small, a small house, their daughter is short, a small apple, a small pencil, they are small, the berries, the beads, etc. Now we get to this, kawak'a. The dress, or the clothing is too small for my upper body. At'a'aya kawak'a. They were short of food. So here we have kawak'a. So we're going to copy this onto our notes. So we'll say kawak'a. What? Let me check the tone. What mode is that? Do we know?
Effective.
Perfective. So if we want to turn this into a progressive, if we see that it's ya, like, so we're going to add ya in front, and we're going to say kana ka. And what has to happen is this wants to be long and high, but when we put the N on there, what's going to happen to that double A?
Ain.
Comes in A.
Turns into
Last
EI,
word.
doesn't it?
Yes. Yakanakain. It is getting to be too small. Jeez.
So this says
Collaboration.
kunakain and the other one was kanakain. Does it matter?
Oh, whoops. Yeah, it should be kanakain. Because what you've got here is you have ka and are built in here. And so the reason why ka and are built in, so like you get this with things like ye, kuge, and you also have ye, kugenk, and you have ye, ḳulagaawu, and ye, dzísk'w. So what is ye kuge?
It's big.
It's like, yeah, it's
And ye kugenk?
like a little bit.
Well, cha ye kugenk
Yeah. It's like small.
is a little bit. There's a case where that particle now changes the phrase. So it shouldn't be underlined. Ye kugenk is small, cha ye kugenk is a little bit. There was a tall, older Tlingit man who used to work at Costco. He would be the one who looks at your receipts and checks your membership card when you come in. Probably 10 years ago, someone told me that he spoke Tlingit. It's like, no, really? I'm gonna talk to him. And so I was standing there with my cart, and he's looking at my receipt and making a little line on it with a marker. And I said, Tlingit ʼatudli.átk. And what does that translate to?
Do you understand Tlingit?
You understand Tlingit? And he stopped, and he looked at me and he goes, ʼayigugwink. And then he goes back. It's so cool. Okay. ʼulagaawu.
It was big. It's this tall. Okay.
Living thing or building, for whatever reason. And then ʼulagaawu.
Is this short?
Okay. So all of these have this built into it. That's why you get kuge, gugenk, ḳulagaawu, and skank, right? It's weird to say without the vowel in front of it. So the reason why they have that is because this ka is compared to. So there's a ka that's the horizontal surface, there's the ka that's a round or spherical thing, and then there's a third ka, which is comparative. So you're saying, so whenever you have this comparative one, you pretty much are always going to have the aerialis right next to it. So that's why you're getting yakunakain. Okay. Just continuing to learn from the late great Shadang.
iyatee ʼatudli.átk.
Sheesh. So what do we've got for iyatee?
This big.
One person?
One of them.
Oh, ʻklēnok. This.
So here, this one person, right? And yeah, we could say here is this one person. Like this in terms of like,
The aya also mean then or now.
say it again.
Could the aya also mean then or now?
Yeah, it could mean right now, right here. What I think when you have these double ayahs, like what they're doing is they're calling attention. Like it's really important that we know that someone is alone. There's one of them, because ʼklēnok means one and also means alone. And so it can have different meanings, sort of like by myself, right? In English, that could mean different things, right? And so you could say, I think there was a comedian who said something like, how do we go from a toddler from like, I did it by myself to like the sad songs where they're singing like all by myself, right? And so same thing here, it kind of depends on context. Like if we go back and re-examine the ʻatudli and ḵulagaawu story, that's a ʻklēnok. They were all alone. But that's how we translated it in that moment, but it just means there's one of them, a living thing. But then once we get to the verb, so this verb, or what do we got here?
They hunted.
They hunted.
Then they hunted, right? So once we add these two things together, so this one person, there was one of them, they went hunting by themselves. So like once we get to the verb, that brings focus back to ʻklēnok, to say, oh yeah, they did that thing by themselves. That's an important part of this story. And what about ʻulagaawu?
I know it's like
Found it to be jock in a potential
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah, it's the same thing as with like ʻatudli. It's like you go to the store for this thing, you go hunting for this thing. Kind of.
yeah, that would. I had a hard time trying to find the mode of it because they all seemed like they didn't quite fit.
Let me.
I think I decided on a potential mode, so could.
Okay. The only one I could find that really fit the like prefix was the potential decessive, but that did not make sense.
Fall asleep.
So what, yeah, we get. So this is really interesting because we've been in conversations about this where I'm not going to say ʻatudli.átk is incorrect, but most speakers, I think, long time ago would say ʻatudli.átk. You would say úḳlʼ there, especially when there's a vowel right before it. So what you have here is you have a potential. And this potential, like in terms of how does this work, this is not a super common thing, but if you say úḳlʼ, you could also say úḳlagaawu. Oh, I think it's that. Let me check, hold on. Let me check my tone. So again, these are instances where if you go to, like, just trying to continue to think about Tlingit is a big language with lots of moving parts and lots of variation and lots of sort of things, but to try and put all these resources into one spot. Okay, where's my table of contents? Okay, so if we go here to potential, and we go to, it's right there, uqa, right? So uqajaqi, uqakhai. And so what that is saying in terms of like understanding how the language is working here, this would be something they could kill. And this would then be what?
Could eat.
Something they could eat.
So the potentials are a little challenging to put together because you are going to have here, if you pull it apart, oops, that should be uqa. So you're going to have and you're going to have, get my order right, and you're going to have qa, and you're going to have ya. So all of those things gets you uqa. And so there's multiple parts in there. And then if you look up a verb with a different conjugation class, you might end up with na, qa, and then whatever the plus I form of the classifier is. Or you might end up, so if this switches to ga, this is where it gets a little complicated, is it's going to be on this side of it. And then if you have qa, it's going to be back on the other side. And you're going to double those. So one of the things about a potential is if it's a ga verb, you're in luck because that's the same pattern as the future. So these are complicated things, but if you learn this thing, you could say something they could punch, something they could love, something that you could have all kinds of things. But when you have that, and you're going to have the ut there, and then qa, he went hunting for something he could kill.
I'm just playing around because something to own is ooh. So I was trying to think of a verb root that ended with ooh, so we could have ooh at the front, ooh at the end.
Oh, you might have unqa'u, something they could buy. ʼatudli.átk. Okay.
Just having fun.
Okay. So when we take like close examinations of this, we reveal lots and lots of stuff. So don't be nervous, don't be worried. Like the language is revealing itself to you because you are ready for it. And I get a reader for this next one.
Klayek Gugudi Ayaya Du Yin Ade Adu Hik Du Iga Huashi.
Sheesh. So tesh yek wukudi. We're going to ignore the ya parts. Like they serve a narrative function.
Didn't come back down.
Yes, and then with the letter I at the end, I'm probably going to say when they didn't come down, right? So they go, and the reason why it's yek is because he goes up in the mountain to hunt. So he'd come down off the mountain would be yek, which would also be down to the beach. Du iyatee
In the direction is what I got.
Little brother.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
in the area,
younger sibling.
and we know like these are guys, and these are males, so we can put brother, we can assume, so the younger brother, or we can say his, like, there's different ways we can approach this. And then do ʼiqaquwishi.
Searching after him.
Yeah.
They look for it.
Okay. Iyatee is a real, just keep an eye. This is one I'd say just keep an eye out for it and how it's working. You see it as yina and niya. It's in Héen, Sanya, Nanya. It's a really interesting word. It means like in the area of, towards, where they were, but it could also mean shielding. It's in Huna. That's where the name Huna comes from. It's from Hunia. Yeah, it's in songs. It's all over the place. It's in place names. There's a place in Skagway called Yakatania, which comes from Yakuteña, the area of the canoe trail. Okay, let's read the next one. What do we got?
Then they didn't as well.
Okay. Didn't, and then what about Teshiekuku?
Again, didn't come down.
When saying that those two sentences to each other, since you have Tesh and Tesh right next to each other, would you have like a little pause there for dramatic effect, like a little comma?
Yeah, so in this case, like the other thing that I do when I edit podcasts is I repeat just doubling of words. And so you'll find speakers who do that all the time. And whether that's something that's a true narrative thing or just a false start, it's hard to tell. Because you'll hear it all the time in stories. Like I just did it just now, right? And so you hear them say it, with the good, right? And so you'll hear them do that. It's very common.
In every major section of The Tale of Two Cities, it starts off with the same beginning sentence.
Right, and so like when we're writing, that's very different than when we're talking. And so if someone's telling a story, that you get this all the time. And so whether it's a way or a ya or an aya, or it's a repeating word, sometimes you just sort of.
For me, it's almost like a dramatic hesitation, it's a tragedy that this happened, so we're struggling to say the next sentence.
Right.
Makes it more impactful that way.
Right. Okay. So here we have what's called a consecutive mode but wait, there's more category. A consecutive, you end up with just the conjugation prefix, a -i classifier, and it means after. After he did not come down. And klesh is contracting to just here. So I'll give you that one because we don't see these very often, but it was Jiwtuwanei who pointed out this mode because when I was working with George Davis, he would use these. He would say, after they got to camp, right? And so that's where we were hearing just the verb root for walking. And we're like, what? So yanchukat good away, nesh good away, du kinnik at the ach Sydney. You probably say ach. Do not get the tea. No, do not our tea. Or do not with the tea. After they came inside, they took off their jacket. Right.
What's the mode called again?
Consecutive. There's another one which is called contingent, which is yeah. Sorry. This is the stage of class.
Modes we found now.
I don't. Okay.
Better question is how many modes have we found that's not the conjugator?
Let's take a look. We might be able to find them. So this is probably where we'll leave it. We'll come back and finish this one up. The place where we're going to look for verb modes is the Verbal Structure Handbook. Scrolling down, to it gets a little fuzzy here. So we have imperfectives, we have progressive, we have repetitive. These
Maybe
are
call some declarative.
Positional.
well, positional it's a certain type of imperfective. What it's saying is it has to close. Like so, ʼatudli.átk, hand me the ʼatudli.átk, hand me the rock. iyatee, so it has to close. The rock is lying there. So then we have these are still imperfectives. So state imperfectives, perfective, realizational. That's one I think that only exists in songs. So, way ahead. Well, I don't know. I'll have to find one. But you get, it's rare because you get the conjugation prefix and a plus I classifier. Habitual, future, potential. But even within potential, you have different types of modes within the potential as well. Hortative, admonitive, conditional, contingent, consecutive.
Admonitive?
Yeah, less you. Usually like ʼxexquan'. It's a combination. It's almost like a prohibitive, but it's like, or don't let anything happen to us.
Right, I remember you talked about that yesterday. Mm-hmm. Is there a different name than admonitive that's used?
It's prohibitive.
Okay.
And then, so there's more of this, like purposive I don't see on here. So yeah, I don't know. Because then there's other ones too. Like, so this is conditional. So if, contingent, whenever, consecutive, following. Because there's this one here, and you can do some of these with post verbs, as well, just to make it more interesting. I think you list them out here. Perfective, future, imperfective. I don't know what that is. Progressive, realizational, habitual, potential, imperative, hortative, admonitive, consecutive, conditional, contingent. And then there's these cool little suffixes, or these post verbs that'll keep you up at night. So I was listening to a story and they were saying qanukan, and I was like, what? Is that like they used to sit there? But no, it's not even a verb. It comes after the verb. And it was saying like contingent means, for me, the story was like the person who would sit, when they would sit up there, they would shoot. So it's like only when they did this thing would they do the next thing. So it's like dependent upon something. I don't know.
Nukni, the conditional, is in so many translated hymns.
Oh, right.
Over and over and over, and I've always wondered what it was.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it's whenever there's this thing, there's this other thing. And this is very high level Shinget, so it's really fun to do at 7:30 at night. It's a light lunch day for me too. So on light lunch days with heavy coffee, it gets real interesting at this time of day. Gonna cheese you on.
Sheesh.
Your reward is a B-rated Tlingit horror movie, which will be on Thursday, and then we'll chat a little bit. I think it's maybe 90 minutes long or so, so we'll have some time afterwards to just talk. So think of encouraging words for the beginning Tlingit folks, and I'll think of encouraging words for you folks.
Are we not
What's
the naming on Thursday?
Wait,
what's the ʼatudli.átk?
When did you name the movie? I thought we were doing that, then coming back to movie.
okay.
That's why I'm like, what do you mean we have time after?
Okay, time to panic, because they already left, right?
Yes, but she can email out her class.
Okay. Those of you who are on Kayaaní, we're meeting at ʻatudli. We'll be simulcasting from there, coming to you live from ʻatudli. We'll speak a little bit of Tlingit, just walk. It's a soft opening, so there's not like a big like plan. There might be some snacks or something. But you all I've been granted permission to bring you all along. So it is next to the Anderson building over here on ʻatudli. We'll meet there. We'll hang out for just like half an hour or so. Then we'll transition back to the library, probably into the library. We got to get it all set up. It's all very fluid. And ʼulagaawu. And then I will send a link out to everybody who's online so that you can just watch the movie and then maybe tune in for a short conversation afterwards. But that might take us right up to time. So we'll see how it goes. So just be ready, be fluid, keep going through Táax'aa. For next week, we will set a goal to get through page 6. That's your weekender. Well, from now through the yeah, like a whole week to do that.
So ʻatudli, is that the one above, like just overlooking like the gas station, or is that the one that's like right next to the road?
It's right next to the road.
Oh, then I guess
so if you went out to the main entrance and you go this way, where the old bookstore used to be, which is now a brewery, and you go around the roundabout and you go past D Hearts, you can go up that road and then curl around and then take an immediate right.
Oh,
new building.
It's right.
Oh,
right next to the building that used to be the NOAA lab.
Yes. So if you go past the place that used to be the bookstore, and then you go past the place that is currently still D Hearts, and then you go past the new condominiums that weren't even there several years ago, and then you go past the place that used to be the lab, and that's right there.
And I can walk to there like easily from the church over there, right?
Yeah, you can walk there. You can go. What's the easiest? There's 2 ways to get there from here. You can go this way past the library, and there's a walking path that goes down. Then you can go up and over, or you can cut through the parking lot. And so,
isn't there also a shuttle?
There probably is a shuttle.
And what is it called?
I think the shuttle will get you to at least the Anderson building.
It's the Anderson building.
The shuttle is terrible. I used to work out here. I don't anymore because the shuttle would just drive me around forever and ever before getting to the rec center. You know?
So people look on the cameras.
Maybe we should postpone the movie to next week so we're not trying to cram too much in.
Possibly. We're trying to cover.
If it's 90 minutes and you're moving from one location to the next, it could be, yeah.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, we might have just killed our dream. We'll get ourselves ready. That's what we'll do. I don't know.
Did we eat our own?
Huh?
Said we eat our own.
Yeah.
Well, beside it's going to be sunny on Thursday, so we can save movies for when it's rainy out.
Sounds good. Yeah. Okay, so no kusahakwan yet. It'll still sit in its lair. What we'll probably do then is we'll convey here because there's just better sound. I think this room's just wired and ready to go. And we'll do this will be fun for you all, I think, is we'll do the short and medium versions of Táax'aa, and then we'll start going back into this, and they could watch us walk through some of this stuff. It'll be good. Yakecha, cheese. So yeah, no movie, but we'll start an hit, transition back to here. So there'll be a break, and then we won't take our regular scheduled break. Okay. Cheese playing.
Yeah,